Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the invisible systems that power our lives, and specifically, the unique and often hidden dangers that could be lurking right inside the walls of historic homes. So, let's dive right in with a question. You've got this gorgeous, charming craftsman home, but could it be hiding a dangerous secret? The thing is, a lot of these beautiful older homes, especially in places rich with history like Pasadena, are running on an electrical system that's just, well, dangerously out of date for the way we live now. And we're going to use Pasadena as our case study today because it perfectly shows a problem that historic cities are facing everywhere. It's this fundamental clash, the preservation of beautiful old architecture versus the reality of our modern electrical needs. So what makes Pasadena such a great example? Well, it's this perfect storm of factors. You've got these stunning craftsmen in Spanish colonial homes, many still with their original 60-amp electrical panels. 60! Then you add the intense strain of Southern California heat waves, our demand for every modern appliance you can think of, and on top of all that, super strict historic preservation rules. It all comes together to create a massive electrical challenge. Okay, so how do you know if your home is actually struggling under this load? The signs can be pretty subtle, but trust me, there are things you absolutely should not ignore. Let's walk through a few of the big ones. First up, flickering or dimming lights. You know the moment. Your air conditioner kicks on, or maybe the microwave, and for a split second, the lights dip. That little flicker is a classic sign that your whole system is overloaded and is fighting to keep up with the demand. And what about sounds? Go listen to your electrical panel. It should be completely silent. If you hear any kind of buzzing or humming coming from it, that's a huge red flag. It can mean there's a loose wire or a breaker that's failing, which is a serious fire hazard. Now, this one sounds really strange, but it is incredibly important. If you ever notice a fishy smell, or kind of like burning plastic, especially near an outlet or a light switch, that's a major warning sign. It almost always means electrical components are seriously overheating somewhere inside your walls. And finally, the one we're almost all familiar with. The breaker that just keeps tripping. If you feel like you're constantly taking a walk to the breaker box to flip that switch back on, that's not just a small annoyance. That is literally your home's electrical system screaming for help, telling you its circuits are dangerously overloaded. And as you can see here, these common annoyances are directly connected to much deeper, more dangerous problems. Those frequent breaker trips, they often point to a panel that's just too small. Outlets or switches that feel hot to the touch, that could be a sign of loose connections or even hazardous old wiring. Even things like crazy high electric bills or light bulbs that burn out way too fast can signal serious issues under the surface. But really, all those symptoms are just what's on the surface. Let's go a little deeper, because the real dangers are often invisible, hidden right there behind your walls. In a lot of these historic Pasadena homes, this is what you'll find: knob and tube wiring. It was the standard from the early 1900s into the 50s. The really critical things you need to know are it has no ground wire, which is a modern safety essential. Its cloth insulation becomes brittle and just disintegrates over time, and it was never designed for the kinds of power we use today. It is such a liability that many insurance companies flat out refuse to cover a home that still has it. Then there's this stuff, aluminum branch wiring. This was pretty common in homes built from about 1965 to 1973. It was a cost-saving thing back in the day, but we now know the connections get loose over time as the metal expands and contracts with temperature changes. That loosening creates resistance, which creates dangerous heat, and that poses a severe fire risk at pretty much every outlet and switch. And this chart just says it all. The difference is night and day. The old systems, often fuse boxes, had maybe 60 to 100 amps of power for the entire house. They were never designed for a world with central air, electric vehicles, and high-powered kitchens. The modern standard is a 200-amp panel with circuit breakers, separate circuits for big appliances, and these crucial modern safety features. So what's the solution here? Well, it's not a simple repair. It's really about fundamentally re-engineering your home's electrical core to make it safe and ready for the 21st century. If there's one number you take away from this, let it be this one: 200. 200 amps. That's really the new minimum standard for most homes, especially if you have central air conditioning or you're even thinking about getting an EV charger. This upgrade is the absolute foundation for getting rid of those capacity problems and making your home safe. A complete modern solution really has a few key parts that all work together. It usually starts with a whole house rewire to get all that dangerous old stuff out. Then comes the panel upgrade to boost your home's total capacity. From there, you add dedicated circuits for power-hungry appliances. And finally, whole house surge protection, which acts like a bodyguard for all of your expensive electronics. And modern electrical codes now require these two incredible life-saving devices. The easy way to remember it is this. GFCIs protect people from getting shocked, so they're required in places with water, like kitchens and bathrooms. AFCIs protect the house from fires caused by faulty wiring, so they're required in places like bedrooms and living rooms. Now, tackling these issues is absolutely not a DIY job. This requires professional expertise. And when you do hire a professional, there is a very clear, straightforward process you should expect to see. A true professional process eliminates all the stress by giving you total clarity. It starts with a real diagnosis to find the actual root cause of the problem. Then you should get a detailed estimate in writing before any work begins. The installation itself has to be done to code, and the contractor should manage all the permits and inspections for you. And at the end, you get all the paperwork and a solid guarantee for the work. So this is basically your checklist for finding the right person. Do they give you upfront pricing? Do they handle all the permits? Are they fully licensed and insured? Do they understand all the specific local codes, like California's Title 24? And do they stand behind their work with a guarantee? This is how you make sure the job gets done safely and correctly the first time around. Ultimately, it really comes down to this. Protecting your home's unique character and its history is about more than just preserving how it looks. It's about making sure its core systems are safe, reliable, and ready for the demands of modern life. Because the real beauty of a historic home is one that's ready to stand for another 100 years.